Hey everyone, so a lot of players ask what the best pick for climbing the lower ranks is. First, let me say you should really play whatever you want because the champion doesn't matter as much as just learning the game. You can climb with literally anything. But in my opinion, the best champion to climb with in low elo right now is Garen. And yes, I am talking about mid lane Garen. Now, before you close the video, because you think you know why we're saying this, because Garen is easy to play and one-shots people, there are actually a lot of different reasons that you probably haven't thought about. So in this video, I'm going to basically showcase why he's so good with a little guide as well, so you know what to do. Let's first do a very fast rundown on his abilities, just so you know what he does and any small things that are important. Garen's passive is just a ton of free sustain as long as he hasn't been hit by an enemy champion for a certain amount of time. His Q gives him movement speed and silences the enemy on his next auto, but a big part here is that it actually removes any slows completely. His W is one of the main reasons he's so disgusting. It gives him free MR and armor as a passive, but on active, gives him a shield, damage reduction, and tenacity. So with just this ability alone, he's so tanky without building tank items. His E, I'm sure you all know, is the spin to win, but you might not know it shreds armor as well. And the ultimate is a targeted ability that does true damage that's increased the lower health they are. Alright, we know what Garen does now. But let's get into the first reason Garen is so amazing, and this should appeal to most of you. Sick of dealing with Yasuo or Zed mid? Garen is the answer. It's laughable how easy these matchups are. Instead of banning Zed, you will hope they pick it. To show you what I mean, let's look at a game where I'm playing this matchup in gold. I'm going to start with Q, and as soon as Zed throws a shuriken, then walks up for this last hit, I use Q to catch up and hit him with it. Then he uses Q again, so when he walks up for this next last hit, he's in my minions, so I basically go all in. I use auto Q, since Q is an auto reset, and keep trading autos all the way to this point. Now, I won the trade pretty hard, but let's say we traded evenly. With Garen, you're always going to want to start with Doran's shield, because that, combined with your passive, if you ever trade even, it means you won the trade, because you will out-sustain anyone. Just watch my health here as my passive kicks in. Zed had to use both of his potions, and he healed the same amount as me. So now he's out of sustain, but I got plenty left. This ends up being a pretty big deal right here about 30 seconds later when he walks up for a CS like this, so I go in with my Q and E. Without even using my W for the shield and damage reduction, look how much damage I do. He has no sustain whatsoever, so the lane is actually over at this point. It's impossible for him to win. He can't one-shot me because of my innate tankiness, and I'm just constantly healing. So the next time he walks up, I go in with Q, E, and Ignite, which makes him flash away. Then I use my W for the last tower shot, so I barely take any damage. Also, want to know the weakest part of the game for Garen? The early levels. The longer it goes, the better it gets for him. But the lane is already over in the first 3 levels because he's still strong at this point too. Anyways, Zed is forced to recall and lose an entire wave, and the CS is 23-9. When I get back to lane, the wave is huge, but I go to trade anyways for a little bit and use my W to negate a lot of the minion damage before backing off and letting the wave crash. The trade didn't look that good, right? But first, I didn't use a potion and Zed did, and Zed had a huge wave that no other champion could fight in. But as Garen, I was able to take that trade, and now I'll let my Doran's shield and passive heal me back up. After getting ganked and healing up a bit, Zed uses his main combo, WEQ, and chunks me. This gives me a window to go in if he walks up at all. And when he does, I do my simple combo, Q, E, and W to negate some minion damage again, and take half his health. Now, this is where Garen gets really gross. When you're level 6, if the enemy laner is around half health, they are in kill range. So since I'm about to hit 6, I kill a minion and go in, but since my E wasn't up, I couldn't kill him. If my E was up, I would have used flash, Q, E, and R, and he's dead before the silence is over from the Q. He was about 1 auto attack from being in kill range with my ult. But either way, my Q is such a short cooldown that I wait a few seconds, then flash in with Q, and actually mess up trying to get some more damage with my E before using R. He would have died if I just used R after the Q, he was easily in kill range. Either way, that gets me my first kill, which gives me enough for my first item, which are Berserker's Greaves. This is another reason this champion is so dumb. Because he gets free tenacity, damage reduction, and resistances on his W, he doesn't need defensive shoes. His attack speed makes his E spin faster, which does more damage. Also, by rushing boots like this, you are much harder to gank and are very fast to punish if they're out of position, as most champions don't rush tier 2 shoes. And, oh yes, there's more, every spin counts as a conqueror stack, so watch how fast it stacks in this small trade. I didn't even hit him with my Q. My E just stacked it so fast on its own. Alright, like I said, this champ only gets stronger as the game goes on. So I do a bit of a limit test here, when Nunu ganks my lane, and I try to one-shot him before he can get his ult off. I do kill him and don't live long enough to get the Triumph heal, but watching this over, I had so many different ways to play this. I could have just went on Zed at the start and one-shot him. I wasn't hitting Nunu with my E for a second or two, just a lot of mistakes and better ways to play it, and I still almost lived. If I got the Triumph heal, I actually would have lived. Alright, this next play shows how insane Garen is if the enemy face checks you. I'm on my way back to lane and see Zed returning from a roam bot. Sadly, this isn't a real face check, but I do catch up to him with my Q since he's not paying attention and doesn't think I could be here, and watch this damage from just one rotation. The silence is ending right here, and I actually should have killed him. If I just R and ignite, he's dead. One shot, just like that. Sadly, I'm a scrub and don't know my damage enough since I don't play this champ often. But after that, look who shows up to gank. On any mage here or assassin, I have to respect Nautilus being here since he does have a lot of damage and can perma CC me, which will make it easy for Zed to combo and finish me off. But since I'm Garen, aka Thanos, I know they can't touch me. If Zed jumps in, I just ignite and ult him, and he knows this. So Naut jumps in alone, thinking Zed will join, but I just shred him, doing half of his health with just my E. Then use Q and my ult to finish him. So just like that, I one-shot the tanky Nautilus. Remember, Garen's E shreds armor. Then Nunu shows up as well, and since I haven't used W yet and my Kindred is behind me, I'm not worried at all and keep fighting, trying to bait them into using their abilities on me so Kindred can free hit. It works perfectly since I used my W when Zed ulted, and we kill the Nunu as well. Then we can see yet another perk of Garen. He takes towers extremely fast because of the auto reset on his Q, and he rushes attack speed and Triforce. In this clip, I don't even have Sheen yet, and I'm melting the tower this fast. Later on in the game, the only defensive item I have is Dead Man's Plate, which doesn't even give the most tanky stats in comparison to the other tank armor items, but I still dive this Nunu without taking much damage at all and cut through him like butter with my armor shred and true damage. And for the last play of this game, we do some real limit testing, where I just charge in 1v5 in their base. I have Triforce, Berserker's Greaves, Phantom Dancer, and Deadman's. Basically, full damage and one semi-tank armor item. Watch this. So I don't think I could have played this much worse. I played it about as bad as possible. My target selection, movement, Q usage, not using my ult, everything was terrible, and I still lived that long in a 1v5 under tower. A champion building mainly damage should never live this long. Alright, I know what you're thinking, what about versus ranged champions though? For this next one, I'm going against Ziggs. Ziggs actually has some of the most early game harass in the game versus melee champions, mainly because his low cooldown Q and the passive auto. But Garen is weak in the first few levels, so I just abuse my passive Endure and shield sustain, but when Ziggs walks up, I still trade a little bit. He couldn't poke me out of lane without running out of mana, so I recall when he does. When I get back to lane, Olaf tries to gank, but we don't get much. The important part here is that Ziggs used his escape ability, his W. Because he doesn't have that, he is very vulnerable to trades. And since the first item I bought was shoes, the moment he walks up, I Q in and chunk him to 40% health. Remember, when they are half health or below, they are in kill range. So when my Q is back up, I just flash in with it and ignite, and he's dead before he can use flash. He TPs in 10 seconds later, and since I'm about to hit 6, I wait for the TP to finish, then kill the minion. The way he's kiting makes it obvious his teammates are in bot jungle, so I run into this brush. As Karma gets closer, I run in with Q, E, and ult to kill her very fast, but now the enemy top is TPing in as well. They end up getting me, but that wasn't too bad for bringing 4 members to mid. Later on, I roam bot to help Jhin, and watch how much damage my E does after Ziggs TPs. This is just with Berserker Greaves, Stinger, and Phage. It's actually insane how a champion can be this tanky in one shot like this. After finishing Triforce, all it takes is one engage to get the enemy escape, so think LeBlanc W, Syndra E, and in this case, Ziggs W. Then as soon as Q comes back up, I go back in and ult him for 512 true damage. When you start snowballing, there's really no stopping you. You just one-shot anything. Tank, bruiser, mage, If you get on them with Q, you will kill. Alright, so now you see how any matchup is winnable, but there is another really slept on part of Garen that you wouldn't think about. Most of the time, you'll be rushing dead man second on him. That, along with Q, makes you move around the map really fast. Now combine that with insanely fast wave clear, and nearly impossible to 1v1 if not behind, and the fast tower taking. So you can win games through macro with ease. You can just run to each lane, push the wave, and always be one step ahead. If they don't stop you, you take the tower in under 10 seconds. If one of them comes, you can kill them. If they all come, you're so hard to catch, you can just waste their time and run away. Garen is by far the most broken champ to abuse in lower ranks. The only champs you need to be careful of are ADCs that can cut you easily, like Vayne of course, but with Flash, you can one-shot anyone. If you want to truly take your lane phase to the next level and learn how to convert leads into easy wins, then you need to check out our site skillcap.com. We have by far the largest catalog of guides on the internet with well over 800, and they are the exact quality you see here on YouTube. We've curated them into over 100 epic courses, and we release more than 10 new guides every week. We're so confident you'll improve, you can input your rank before signing up to see where we think you'll climb. If you don't hit that rank while actively using our service, you can claim a refund, so there's no risk. Sign up today to finally get the rank you've always wanted. Okay, before we close this out, I'm sure you want to know runes and items. For runes, you want to run this page. For items, you want to go Berserker's Greaves, Triforce, Deadman's, Phantom Dancer, Death's Dance. You can interchange the last 3 items or build an MR item if you need it, but these are your core. Alright guys, that's going to bring us to the end of this one. Let us know if you like the style of guide and if you have success with Garen. But we hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.